everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation, and my guest today is Tim James. He's a chemical free health coach and the founder of chemicalfreebody.com and also podcaster. The podcast is called Healthy Hero Show. So the full bio will be at the end of this video. But my favorite question to ask, as everyone knows who watches this, is who is Tim James in his own words in this moment?
In this moment, Tim James is a guy that is excited every day when I wake up, and my goal is to help other people get to that place. I'm excited, I'm happy, and I'm healthy. And about 12 years ago, I wasn't. I had very poor health. In fact, I just to give my background, I grew up on a small cattle and hay farm over here in Eastern Oregon, and I was hunting and fishing a lot, and we had a big garden, and we had Hereford cattle and grew grass and alfalfa hay. So we were always working. So I learned about hard work and that stuff. I actually played baseball at a high level for 30 years, which was awesome. So I was an athlete. But then fast forward to age 37, I was a financial advisor. I had a wife, a couple kids, a mortgage, a lot of expenses,
Yeah,
and I was just chasing that, American dream, I thought. But what happened was my health had failed me. The standard American diet had destroyed my health, all the processed foods, and I really wasn't aware of it at the time. I was trying to be healthy. I tried high fat and low fat diets and high protein, low protein, high carb, low carb, 5 meals a day. I tried a bunch of different stuff. I actually tried juicing at one point in time, but it didn't work. And I found myself 42 pounds overweight, not sleeping well, fatigue, the low energy levels. I'd stopped working out. I was only walking the dogs, or walking because I had dogs and I could not walk them. That was my responsibility. And then it's got worse. I started getting a huge patch of eczema on my left knee, and it just kept growing and getting bigger and then cracking and bleeding and sticking to my pants. And then it spread to my elbows, and then those were cracking and bleeding. And my white shirts as a financial advisor were getting all stained, so I couldn't wear them anymore. It was painful. It was like, what it's like when you have an injury and blood sticks to your clothing and it dries. It hurts. And so I was in pain taking literally my pants and my shirts off every single day. And I had acid reflux really bad, so I was eating Tums and Rolaids 24/7. That actually got worse. And then finally, I was literally like for 2.5 years, I would poop blood after a bowel movement. Like, so, and it was like red blood from anal tears, and then also dark red blood from internal stuff going on, bleeding inside of me. And so my digestive tract was completely trashed. And then my wife at the time, which one of her middle names is your name, actually. So I thought I haven't
ah,
seen that name in a long time. She's from
yes,
Peru in Lima, and her dad was a medical doctor. And we'd planned this amazing vacation just south of Ecuador in a place called Tumbes. Thousands of dollars a year in planning. We fly down there. It was her dad's first vacation in 30 years as a medical doctor. He ran a huge clinic down there in Lima. And I found myself out on the boat, not feeling. We went to this deep sea fishing excursion, and I wasn't feeling good. And they're like, "Oh, he's got motion sickness from the." I'm like, "No." I'm like, "I hunt and fish. I've been on the Oregon coast and Hawaii. I never get that stuff. Something
right,
else." And they're like, "Oh, it's motion sickness." So I get back and it doesn't get better. So finally, he's like, "Lay down a second. Let me check you out." And he's like, "Oh my God, we have to get you to the hospital. You need surgery." And I'm like, "What?" And so I'm bent over at a 90-degree angle walking to the car. I can't even walk erect. We get in the car, we zip down to the airport. I missed the one plane flight a day out of that place. It was a place called Tumbes, like again, south of Ecuador. And he's like, "We can't wait. You could die." So we rented a van and we drove 6 hours in the middle of the night down the coastline of Peru, down this super bumpy road to a place called Piora to get to the nearest hospital there where you could actually get a surgery. And every bump on the way there was like somebody like stabbing you with a knife or an ice pick in the gut. And it was just like bump, 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 all the way down. When I got
right.
there, I was so exhausted and I'd sweated so much that the paper money in my wallet was soaked. That's how bad it was. It was the most horrible experience I've ever had. In fact, this one lady's like, "You know what it's like to have childbirth." So I was like, "I don't know, but it was pretty painful." And so I'm sitting there in the examination room looking around, and up above me, there's the big light, and it's got bugs flying all around it. And I'm in a hospital, and I'm looking over at their utensils, and they look like they're from the 50s. And I'm thinking, this isn't good. And so he didn't want them to operate on me there. He wanted to operate on me in his state-of-the-art, facility, hospital in Lima. So he's on the phone coordinating all this stuff, and he had there's all these people talking Spanish a million miles an hour, and they doped me up, and then they basically life flighted me with nobody knowing. So I was put on the next commercial airplane, and he was sitting next to me watching me. So I was literally life flighted to Lima on a commercial airline. You're not supposed to even do this. It's not you're not supposed to do that at all. And I flew into Lima, went right into surgery. And this is where the medical profession shines. They actually saved my life. Like, they did the surgery, they saved my life. I'm very grateful for that component of the medical community, which is, a lot of people don't know that Western medicine was actually born out of wartime, out of crisis mode. So when people were shot, arms, shrapnel, bombs going off, they patch you up, save your life. But for the chronic stuff like I had, for the rectal bleeding, the mental fog, the skin issues that I had in my shoulder, my elbows, my knee, complete fail. And we look at this today. Our children now in the United States are dying younger than us. Since about in 1984, United States started trending down compared to other industrialized nations in life expectancy, and then sharply going down since 2014. It's not just a COVID deal. So all the what's in the medical community and the politicians and all the stuff that they've delivered us, they failed. I mean, so they should literally be fired, because our children are now dying younger than us. That is black and white. But like I said, so I was very happy about that one part of the medical deal. And what I learned from that experience was a couple things, Valeria. Number one, I don't ever want to go in the hospital again if I don't have to. And if it's there for me, an emergency, thank God. But number two, I don't want to go. Number two was, my poor health doesn't affect just me. It affects everybody
Mm.
else around me, because I ruined that vacation for my wife and her dad, who was having a great time. And I felt terrible about that. He ended up back in the hospital, like, taking care of me. Okay, so what ends up happening then, I get wheelchaired back in the United States as I'm recovering, and I still didn't know what I was doing. After that, a friend of mine on my baseball team, Clay Mahoy, who was age 40, got diagnosed with stomach cancer, but he chewed tobacco, so we figured it might have been from that. And he went through surgery and chemo and that kind of deal, and he died. And he left 3 little boys behind, and he looked 80 pounds under his weight when he died. He looked like somebody from a concentration camp, like Auschwitz, and it was horrible. He had no money or insurance, excuse me, so we had to do a fundraiser, the baseball team did, and, he left those 3 little boys behind from ages 6 to 17, so it was horrible, and he was our age. Well, then right after that, my buddy Charles at age 43 gets diagnosed with cancer. He breaks the news to me, and I'm like, "Geez, man," because, like, I lost my aunt to melanoma skin cancer that spread to her lungs. My mom was the hospice worker in that situation, taking care of my aunt. And anybody out there that has ever done hospice, man, or does that work for a living, or taking care of a family member, my heart goes out to you, because that is tough work. So I just want to give you a moment of thankfulness for what you're doing, because it's very hard. And then my grandma died of brain cancer. And so now my buddy Charles has got cancer. So my life, is like, somebody gets cancer, they die. That's what I'd seen. So I think I'm going to lose another friend. And he said, "Hey, they don't really have anything for me up at the hospital up here in Oregon." So he's like, I found this place in Florida called Hippocrates Wellness Center. It's out of Palm Beach. And I want you to go with me to support me. And I'm going to try to heal naturally. And I was like, "Sure, dude, whatever you want." And so January 1st, 2011, we fly into Hippocrates, and day one, my acid reflux was gone. And it was bad. Like, I was eating
Mm.
Tums Relates all day long like candy. And so my journey began. And the first class there that changed my life was called Internal Awareness. And this Dr. Scott Josephson comes out. He's like 50 years old, and he's all fit, and he's got muscles, and he was actually a bodybuilder, like you. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm 50 today." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "This guy looks like he's maybe 40." I was like, "Whoa." And then later on, after I started meeting more people there, the people at the institute that have been working there 10, 20 years, they looked about 10, 15 years younger than everybody else in the population. So I'm like, success leaves clues, but how could this podunk place help people with cancer? I mean, they got Race for the Cure, billions of dollars being spent. I'm skeptical. So we're going through this class, and he said that the average person has 6 to 12 pounds of an impacted fecal material in the colon. And this is where everybody's problems are starting. And I'm like, "What?" And so that's the average. And the Royal Society of Medicine said that 85% of disease starts in the colon. And after, coaching 600 people through this process and living this lifestyle for 12 years, I completely concur with them. Yes, we have to start in the colon. So if you got 6 to 12 pounds of this nasty stuff in there, you want to get it out, right? Kind of makes sense.
Right.
So if the car is not running right, that's your body. If the car's not running right, it has check engine lights, right? And but we have this with our body, but we're not doing anything about it. So if you had a check engine light on your car, Would you just keep driving it? Well, if you did, you know that it can leave you stranded. It's going to break down. Or if you put it off, you're going to have a bigger repair bill. Could be very expensive, right? So, but that's what we do with our body. So we're overweight, or we're tired, or we had eczema like I did, or we're bleeding rectally like I did, or skin issues, or you're fatigued, you're low energy, you're not sleeping well. These are all check body lights, and your body's going, hey, you need to change your environment. You need to change what your body is coming into contact with, the air you breathe, the water you drink, the food you eat, the people that you associate with, your stress, all these things. But we don't know because we weren't given an owner's manual. We've been detached from nature, and we've been programmed by society and parents. So I'm in there doing this thing, and I'm like, well, and then he started talking about colon hydrotherapy to remove the waste. Are you familiar with that? Okay, so I wasn't either. So colon hydrotherapy, or colonics, is basically just what it sounds like. They inserted a tube rectally, and water gently goes in and out of your colon for an hour, and it cleans up the mess. And I remember elbowing Charles and going, "Hey, buddy, I came here to help you with this deal, but I am not doing that. That's not going to happen." Like I was in fear mode. My ego was there, and I was just like, it was
Yeah.
scaring me.
Is that similar to enema, I think you call
Yeah, it's
it?
just an enema is where you have a bag and you use gravity
Yeah,
fed to
right.
put some water in, but this is just like
Yeah.
a tube like that, but a machine that gently has water going in and out. So you're basically just going to the bathroom for an hour,
Yeah.
and it just keeps cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and getting all the paint off and all the garbage out until it's gone. And so I wasn't going to do it, but this doctor was a genius. He had 4 virtual colonoscopies of patients, 3 that were unhealthy and 1 that was, and they've been on this protocol for a while, this lifestyle. So the first one was like a 24-year-old female that had like Hashimoto's disease. It was like a thyroid issue. And she also had thrush, which is a yeast infection. Now, when you go inside of somebody's colon with a camera, you're expecting to see brown things, right? Well, that's what I expect to see. What was in that young woman was it was all white and yellow. Like everything was white and yellow. She was completely overgrown with yeast. And I was like, oh my God, that doesn't look good. So then they go to the next guy, 65-year-old male with colon cancer and parasites. Inside of his colon, black as tar and white worms crawling around. Now, the doctor at this point turns around and said, hey, look, 50% of I want you to know these parasite deals are not a third world affair at all. Your immune systems has dropped, you become susceptible. Here's what's happening. Most of you, over 50% of you, are going to see these parasites coming out in your stools over the next 3 weeks.
Ah,
These are hookworms and pinworms. Some people's stools become white fuzzy, and they showed kind of pictures. And it's not just the long tapeworms that can grow 6 feet long, which they do, right? So, and he said there's also these microscopic parasites, and they're in your cells and in your tissue, and all of them are eating your food, they're drinking your drink, they're urinating and defecating in you, and then they're having sex and
mm.
laying thousands of eggs. And now I'm just going, I'm thinking to myself, I want them out. Maybe I should get one of these colon washes or something.
Yes.
And then the
Yes.
next woman is a 45-year-old female with breast cancer. And inside
Yeah.
of her colon, black like tar, a little bit of brown stuff, and it just didn't look good. Then they went to the healthy lady, and inside of her colon, you could see the colon. It was like pink and clean, and there was some brown stuff in there. It looked normal, like it should, right? And that's when the light bulb went off in Tim's head, and I'm like, oh my God, this is an inside game. I have to go inside. I couldn't see what was going on inside, but now I get it because they gave me the visuals. I'm a very visual person, Valeria. I can hear stuff, but I got to see it, right? And I get it. And I found out later that 70% of people are visual. So I try to paint pictures for people that they can wrap their head around literally so they can understand this stuff like me because you have to talk to people in the way they learn. And so the next day I signed up for that thing and I went in and got that colon hydrotherapy session. They weighed me. I did it for an hour and they weighed me again. I dropped 11 pounds of impacted funk and gunk and junk. It was horrible, right? And I got all this stuff. It was great actually that I got all this stuff out. Now the next
Yeah.
day I'm at the lunch table and a lady has a parasite crawling out of her eye. And I'm like, "Hey, you got a parasite crawling out your eye." And we saw this stuff like a few people would have parasites crawling out their pores and their skin, like little ones and stuff. You could see them. And I'm like, I was there. So because I've had people say, "Oh, that's not true." I'm like, "Yeah, I was there. I saw it." Because I told her, I was like, "Hey, you got a parasite crawling out your eye. You don't don't let it fall in your salad, you know."
Wow.
And so
Wow.
why is this happening? Here's why. When you go inside, it's all the internal terrain game. If most people are on this processed, stressed out, they're on a stressed out life. Number one, you're eating processed, denatured foods and you're creating this acidic environment in your body and a very low oxygen environment. This is the perfect breeding ground for viruses, bacteria that should be there but not in the out of balance, mold, yeast, fungus. and these mutagens, cancer and parasites. It makes it beautiful for them. So when you go to a place like this and you start doing high oxygen and high alkaline, you change the internal environment and they pack their bags and leave. Just like if you were to drop a polar bear and a penguin off at Miami Beach, they're going to be like, it's too hot. I'm out of here. They're going to get in the water and go north or south. Right? The parasites start leaving the body, and so do other things. So I learned to change the internal environment. I really started focusing on the air I breathe, the water I drink, the food I eat, the clothing that I wear, my personal care products, and I redesigned my life. I literally reset my entire life. I got super healthy. Well, before that, I was still at the institute, and I remember I was kind of going through night sweats and I was irritable and I had a metallic taste coming out of my tongue because heavy metals were coming out. And I wasn't really feeling that good. And I went to bed at like 8:30 one night and just hoping this would go away. And they said after 4 or 5 days, one day you'll wake up and just be like feeling amazing, 30 years younger. Well, it happened for me, thank God, on Thursday instead of Friday because I was like, ugh, didn't feel good. And I woke up and me and Charles, we went and did our lemon lime water.
Wow.
Then we did our
Wow.
wheatgrass shot. We went and worked out. And then we had our big green juice. We did our hot cold plunge and the saunas and all the things they had there. And I was walking back to the institute or to our hacienda where we were staying together. And I looked at him. I'm like, dude, do you feel as good as I do? And he's like, yeah, I feel amazing. I said, bro, my arms are literally tingling with energy. My mental clarity's back. I'm like 15, 18 years old again. I'm like, I can't believe how good I feel and how alert I am and how I just feel fantastic. Dude, we've discovered the fountain of youth. It's literally what everybody's looking for, and it's so simple. It's just reducing your stress, getting the toxins out of the body, cleaning up that car, your vehicle, and then flooding your body with living nutrition. And we came back, and within 60 days, I had dropped 42 pounds. The skin issues on both of my elbows and my shoulder were gone, like completely gone. It was like poof, magic. The one on my knee, it took 8 months because it was like very large and big. It'd been there for years. And I started wearing smaller shirts and I fit back into my college clothes again. It was amazing. And then about 2.5 years later, after living this lifestyle, because Charles and I adopted it, he was free of his cancer. He completely healed himself. He was able to see his son graduate high school, go to father-son weekend at Oregon State University, and then finally, his son actually sold him his house. His son became a real estate agent. And Charles went from bankruptcy and cancer to very healthy, playing guitar, successful business, new lady in his life, and we actually finished the 2012 Portland Marathon together, side by side, 6 months prior to him being technically cancer free. So I saw it with my own eyes do it, and now I've helped 600 people through this process. Over half of them had cancer. To learn this lifestyle and see what it can do for them. We've built a whole. I can't. I get to do this. This is like fun for me. I can't wait to talk to you. I hope that there's somebody on their end that I'm resonating with, so I can help get them out of that quagmire, that BS mental prison you're in, and start healing and being happy. Because as soon as the body starts feeling good, the heart and the mind wake up, and you tap into your spiritual path, and it's here we go. And then things start getting
Mm.
fun, and you become a shining light in your family and your community, just by your life, and it's so cool. So that's what I've been up to, and that's a little bit about the story.
Wow. And I would say this is the birth of chemicalfreebody.com, isn't it? All the products.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
and I do have them here, the list of products. I have a question for you.
Okay.
So the green 85 juice formula with the D3 gut detox, toxin detox, prebiotic formula, turmeric 100, alpha energy, ultra enzyme, super soldier, weight loss formula, and others. So where do we begin if we want to feel the way you do and start cleaning, detoxing? We got to buy all of these products, so we should start with one, two, three. What is your? I would love to hear from you. What is your suggestion?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, normally, I'm also a jokester. I like joking around, but like Dr. Clement, he talks about supplementation all the time. And it's kind of silly that my business actually exists. It shouldn't even need to exist. If there was no pollution and we hadn't tilled and killed the soil all these years. I mean, most people don't know that Ohio State University back in 1964 tested the soil and they weighed how much soil bacterium was in 1 acre. It was like 2,000 pounds, 1 ton. 40 years later in 2004, they reweighed, they did it again. They found
Yeah.
100 pounds. That's it. And some of it was genetically modified. So our soils have been literally raped and defiled. There's no nutrients in them. The fulvics and the humics, which are the buses that transport these nutrients in and out, are gone. most people are magnesium deficient. There's all these problems going on because the soil is screwed up. So like Dr. Clement's like, they're like, how many supplements do you take a day? He's like, I take 46 supplements a day. But the dude's like 70 and he's like lifting weights and running around dancing for 2 hours at the, I was just there at that institute for New Year's, and him and his wife were dancing like they're 20. Right. So why do we do this? Well, so you don't have to start off with 46. That'd be too daunting for most
Right.
people. He does
Right.
that for his own reasons. So what we
Yeah.
recommend, the first thing people do is you have got to make your health a priority. Number one, if you're not making your health a priority, you're you can't be like me. I kept kind of trying things for years and I just wasn't quite getting there. But I was shown in a very quick time over a 2-week period. I got like, it was like a re-education camp. Like
Yeah.
how to get plugged back into nature and how to get all this man-made stuff out. So in our business, we have these bundles we put together, like discount bundles and stuff like that. Yeah, and that way people can get a discount. But the other thing is like so they can, like Green 85 is an example. That was our very first product. That product is designed to replace the 85% nutrients that have been missing in the soil and make it easy and convenient. When I left Hippocrates, they said, if you're not doing 2 green juices a day, you're not on the Hippocrates protocol. You're not going to get the same results, period. So
Mm.
I never missed. It's been over 12 years. I have 2 green juices a day, period. I either make a fresh juice or I'll use this. And even if I make a fresh juice, I spike it with Green 85. So after
Right.
selling hundreds and hundreds of juicers at my home, because I had over
Mhm.
5,500 people to my detox, juicing, living food dinner classes in my home every Tuesday, Wednesday for years. I sold a lot of juicers because we were making juice and people would feel amazing for 1, 3, 4, 5 days after they come to our one class and have one meal and one juice with me. And so they started buying juicers and juicing. But the big problem was is these juicers would go under the cupboard after a month or two and they weren't using them. And why? Number one answer, I don't want to clean the darn juicer. That was it. So I was like, you have to do it. Like Charles is healing himself of cancer. And look at me, and it's like I feel amazing. And so I made this with Dr. Scott Treadway. So all of our products are doctor formulated based on 10,000 years of biological engineering system science. So it's based on Ayurvedic traditional medicine. This is
Yeah.
not like something they're trying to figure out. We know how it's going to work. That's why we know it's going to work for 98% of people up the middle. And we offer a double your money back guarantee on the product. So for somebody starting off, they could do like a jumpstart bundle. You want to just kind of stick your toes in the water, or you could go all in and do the total energy and detox bundle, or anywhere in between. Pick a bundle that fits your budget, what you're kind of do. And then we have all these other products that we came out, like Turmeric 100 for pain and cellular inflammation. A lot of people are using it for pain. And then like the multi shroom product and the V Stack. These are very powerful tinctures that we've come out with. And I literally need like an hour to do a dissertation on each product, like how much time and energy that we've done, on each one. In fact, I had Ashley James on she had me on her show come back because of their profound sleep improvement from the multi-shroom. And we did a 2-hour dissertation on one product, right?
Wow.
Because they're that
Yeah.
profound. I pretty much take
Yeah.
all my stuff. I'm
Yeah.
50. I started rock climbing. I trail run. I was hiking up in the mountains. I went skinny dipping up in a high mountain lake. It was really cold this weekend, but I can do this stuff. My son wanted me to do jujitsu with him, so I did. I've been starting to do jujitsu, and I'm 50, like I said, and my body is not like when I'm rolling with these kids. It's kind of like wrestling if you're not familiar with jujitsu.
Yes, I am.
I'm rolling with 24-year-old guys, and they're like, and they find out how old I am. They're like, dude, you're 50. Like you don't move like you're 50. And it's because I've been working on my body and my mind and my soul for like 12 years, right? And
Mm.
so I remember at Hippocrates, they said every cell in your body will be new in 7 years. Like if we took every cell out of your body today and put them in a catalog and put them in a file drawer, we come back in 7 years, completely new you. Those cells are
Yeah.
gone. Just like you get
Yeah.
new hair, new fingernails, it's a new you. So I decided in that moment, like 7 years is going to come and go. I'm going to rebuild myself. I'm doing this. So I went there to support a friend, but I ended up his cancer. We joke about it was the best thing that ever happened to him and me because we both woke up and we freaking started living our lives. And when you get a cancer diagnosis, if you can turn that crap around in your head and look at it as a gift to wake up, even if you're only going to live for 6 months, but guess what? You might live longer than you would have the other way. And the quality of life is going to be better. And you're going to be, again, a light to other people. We need people to start lighting up and following their joy and passion and tapping into that consciousness that we're all part of. And so, anyway, I get kind of off, but that's, our products are part of our toolkit, but they're not all of it.
Yes. Oh, that's good to know. Answer that question. The bundles, yes, I did see them, and usually catch my attention pretty quickly when I see bundles like that. So thank you for answering that question. Another one you just mentioned, something that caught my attention was about building your spiritual practice so you don't die in fear. So talk to me for a moment about that. What spiritual practices do you engage in? Meditation. Yeah, I would love to hear a bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I grew up and I asked my mom a long time ago. We never went to church. So I'm like, what religion are we? She's like, well, we're Christian. And I was like, okay. And that was it. And I was like, well, what should we do? She's like, do good to people, and don't lie
Mm,
and tell the truth and just some basics, common sense stuff. So I'm like, okay. So that's how I grew up. When I was 18, I went to a whole bunch of churches. No offense, but I felt like they were all trying to pull me into a cult. So I mean, I went to all of them because I was always been kind of an open-minded person in
yeah.
some regards. I was kind of closed-minded when I was going to Hippocrates, even though I was there for my friend. But so what ended up happening was when I started cleaning up my body and getting my cells literally to vibrate at a higher frequency, I started realizing like, wow, I'm connected to something else. And I knew there was something else going on, but I had no clue what it was, but I felt it. It wasn't until like 7 years later in 2018, I finally stumbled across some teachings and I started like, "Oh my god." And I got this download from this guy and he was talking about, and this is now my life plan and my business plan. I mentioned it to you pre-podcast. I have no business plan now or life. My life plan is this. I wake up every morning and I follow my excitement and my joy to my best of my ability every
Yeah.
moment of every day with zero insistence on an outcome. Zip. It's a two-part formula because if you're attached to a goal and that goal is it might create some excitement. That's the thread to follow. It's the excitement. You can't even imagine what happens when you live your life this way. So it resonated with me and I started doing it and I started the synchronicities in my life and the people in the right place at the right time started showing up and all these things that you couldn't even imagine started happening to me. And I'll give you an example. So I'm doing yoga and I finished a Bikram yoga class. I went over to the grocery store and got a coconut water. It was $5.99 plus a 10-cent deposit, 609. In my wallet, I've got a few $100 bills and $6. I need 9 cents. And I'm talking to this girl, and I just got done with yoga, and I'm in this new vibe now with following my excitement and my joy. And I'm telling her all about it. And she's like, and I was like, oh, give a penny, take a penny. I said, I've never taken it. I said, watch this. And I reached into those pennies without looking, and I grabbed a bunch of pennies, and I said, and I turned them over, and I go, count those pennies. And she's like, one, two, and I needed 9. She goes, one, two, three,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And
Ah.
I gotta tell you this, when I was reaching for them, a little small part of me was the little doubt, the ego, whatever it was, like, "That's not gonna happen. You're not gonna grab 9 pennies." But I was feeling so good. I was in so much flow of I was like, "I'm grabbing 9 pennies. Watch this." And she's like, "1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9." She's like, "How did you do that?" And I said, "I did that because I'm literally tapped into following my joy and my excitement to the best of my ability, and I don't have an attachment to the outcome." Because I really didn't care if 9 showed up. I just knew they would. And she's like, "Oh my god, what do you do for a living?" I said, "I help people tap into their excitement, their joy, and I do it through health." And she's like, "I need your card." And then the lady next to me, I didn't even see her. She's like, "I want your card too." And I'm like, this is how life is supposed to work and how it will become an ecstatic explosion of joy and synchronicity. The more you do this, the more you tap into it, your life will literally start exploding towards you. Like these things will happen. But here's the deal. If you start making these changes inside of you and some things in the outside world don't change, maybe an individual that's very close to you, it doesn't mean the formula is not working. It is working. The way that you know that your life is changing, if you start responding differently to those people and those circumstances
Mm, yeah.
differently than you did before, then your reality has changed and you know that you're on the right track.
Yeah. So true. Sounds a bit like the law of attraction. Is that
Well, yeah, I've learned about the law of attraction and I've actually had some different downloads on that. And so what I've learned is that everything that you want, you don't have to go out and attract anything because when you think of law of
yeah.
attraction, you think of what? I have to put out effort. I got to do something. So everything that you want is already done. It's
Ah,
already
yeah.
there. It's trying to get to you so bad. It's like a magnet. But what's happening is in our lives, because of that societal and parental conditioning, we're holding it off, holding it away, which takes effort, and we're holding on to all this crap that's trying to get away from us. So what I've learned to do is let it in and let go of the other stuff, right? And so that it can start flowing to us. So if you want to manifest this stuff, you don't have to worry about it. It's already a done deal. What you have to do is you have to raise your vibrational frequency and tap. You basically vibrate into it. You
Yes.
vibrate into that person that has all that stuff,
Yeah.
whatever it might be. And you know what I've learned too is that financial abundance and things like that are okay in this time space reality. They are a valid form of abundance. But in our world, we seem to make this money thing like the only way that you can have abundance. And when you do that, you're literally locking and closing all the other doors in which abundance could come to you, be it money, be it somebody gifting you something, be it somebody being in the right place at the right time. It's just you have to let abundance come to you, because the definition of abundance is basically being able to do what you need to do when you need to do it. That's it. That's the definition. So if you can do whatever you need to do when you need to do it, does it matter how you get there? No, it doesn't really matter. As long as you get to do what you need to do. As long as you can follow your excitement and your joy, you don't need to do it at all. Right? So I had a friend that was like wanted to go on this big trip 8 hours away, but she's like, I couldn't afford the gas." And I ended up taking her on a trip. She didn't have to pay for gas. I didn't drive that far, but we went, 2.5 hours, and she had this magical birthday gift up in the wilderness, right? Fishing and floating we went swimming, doing all this stuff. We saw mountain goats and all this cool stuff. So that came to her, right?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Abundance is not just something, it's not something that we go try to grasp, try to get. It's like try to chase happiness, which it's very common. But yeah, that's one of my spiritual understandings. Not really a practice, but it's a knowledge that
Yeah.
everything's here now. I don't have to go try to get it.
Yeah. And just to clear things up, because I know some people might say, like I said, you don't have to go do anything. Well, there
No,
is
yeah.
another universal law, though. It says what you put out is what you get back. So to make those changes, you have to change. Like what
Mm,
you put out is what you get back. That is a universal law. So you actually do have to take action to vibrate into those things but those things are literally sitting there like trying to get to you. They want to get to you. Get we just have to brush those clouds out of the way and let them in. That's all it really is.
that is true, Tim. Yes, I absolutely agree with that. Huh? The action thing, you can't. I mean, we can't. Even if we try not to do anything, we can't. Right? We're always doing something. It's kind of being aware of bringing that vibration, that energy to the doing, whatever it is. So that's one of, if I can call it practice, that would be one of my practices. Wherever I am, is like how I wanted to be present, and this is the only moment that exists. There's nothing
Exactly.
else going on. Nothing. It's almost like everything, it's completely silent. I can only hear you and feel your presence.
Well, try to go to the past or try to go in the future. It cannot be done. This is all we have. And this was the
Yes.
real mind bender for me, that there's a bazillion different versions of us, and again, happening all simultaneously. It's like all these movie reels are playing simultaneously, and then we just get to vibrate in and out of them. So, like, if you want to be a drunk with your head in a gutter, start drinking a lot of booze and be mean to people, and don't pay your mortgage or rent or whatever, and just go stick your head in the gutter. If you want to be somebody who's a light, inspiring people, and you're doing yoga every day, and you're like 84 years old and running 40 miles, you know, do those things that lead to that. These are
Right.
choices, and that's the beautiful part of the human experience, is like we get to choose darkness or light, and it's that choice that gives us the human experience. But to understand that without darkness you couldn't have light, and vice versa. It is totally a choice. And the other thing is that I've learned is, like, I have to be okay with people choosing darkness. I have to, because obviously they need more of it right now. Maybe they haven't learned that lesson yet, and so they have to do that. So I'm like, I honor them with compassion. I'm like, wow, like my dad, he's on a
Yeah.
bunch of medications. He's in 24/7 pain, arthritis, all this stuff. He can't, macular degeneration, can't see. He's a great human being. He's like Superman. He won't tell a lie. Like literally, I don't know very many people that don't lie. Him and my mom, they don't lie. That is profoundly hard to find nowadays. So it's like he's got these great qualities, but with his health, not so much. So but
Yeah.
I used to try to help him. I'd get mangry, like tough love, and I try all this different stuff. He'd just fight back and go opposite. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to let him be him. And I'm going to
Yeah.
support him through his pain and understand that maybe
Mm,
he's the angel. Maybe he's going through this on a
mm,
higher level to create the contrast for me, to keep me moving away from that. Right.
yeah.
So, like, cause I thank him every time I see him. I'm like, thank you so much and I don't tell him, like, thank you so much for being in pain, but I see it and I feel it. And I'm just like, okay, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm going to get up and drink water, and I'm going to do my routine, and I'm going to get to bed on time, and I'm going to love myself, and I'm going to make my health a priority. And because my vehicle is the vehicle that drives everything else, it drives my relationships, my spiritual path, my financial abundance through my career, everything. Everything is this vehicle. And if people believe in God and God gave you this vehicle, you're kind of slapping God in the theoretical face if you don't take care of the body. So it's like, this is a gift. This is a very good gift. And we're just renting it right now. And then it'll eventually go back into the soil. So it's like, this is a very precious moment that we have. And so many people get caught up in like, I got to pay the bills and this is going on. And my husband cheated on me and my work sucks. And, all this other stuff. They're missing out on this wonderful human experience.
Hmm. I love the wisdom, that you speak of, even about the light and darkness. Yes, that everything that we see that seems to be dark, it's actually is an expression of freedom, isn't it? The consciousness, whatever we call God, to me is freedom. That's what everything's exercising, exactly that, doing, being whatever they want to be or choose to be, as you said. So that's beautiful wisdom, though. I was not expecting to hear that from you. That's a high spiritual understanding. Wow, that's truly beautiful. I have a question for you about related to spirituality, of course. Again, if your life had one purpose only, what would that be?
To live.
Yeah.
It's to live. And
Yes.
again, you have choices during that process.
Yeah.
So go live. And I remember, on a lower level, my buddy Charles, who had cancer and healed himself, people are like, "Well, don't you miss eating this and don't you miss eating that?" And I can tell you, because I became a raw chef and a raw food, living food chef, is like you can have the most delicious foods in the world by eating healthier and eating lower on the food chain. People just don't know what they're doing. But what Charles responded was, "Oh, what he say?" He's like, "Healthy, nothing tastes as good as healthy feels." But I'm here to
Mm.
tell you, like, you can have both.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can have both. You can have both. And a lot of times you're just so polluted and you're like, I had all this people don't realize, like, I had all like heavy metals coming out of my tongue, and you get a tongue scraper and you see all this brown yellow stuff coming off your tongue as you're cleaning up. Your taste buds will change. You want to change your taste buds, detox, clean up your body, and you can start doing a few juice fasts and stuff like that. Your taste buds will come back. Even a good cucumber out of a garden will taste magical. Like, it'll just send your taste buds through the roof.
Yeah, I love them regardless. Yeah, I mean, they taste amazing to me. Um, there's something else that caught my attention. I think I went to your website and I saw, yes, and I
Was it
saw a
chemical? You
video.
wanna talk about chemicals?
Yeah, no, it's about a video that you have there. You're talking about, yeah, your story. And then you mentioned your brother, I believe, in that video. Did I understand that correctly? That
Yes, yeah, so what ended up happening was, I was adopted at birth, and, I never got to lay on my brother's breast or drink her breast milk. I was whisked away, and these lovely people that became my mother and father raised me, and I'm very
yeah.
grateful for that. I was 21, I actually met my biological mother, and I found out that I had a 15-year-old brother and an 18-year-old sister, and my brother and I were very similar. He was on a farm, I was on a farm. It's just like he was elk hunting, I mean, he played sports, I was playing sports, and so we hit it off, and we're like, "I've got a brother." Like, it was just
Yeah.
magical, right? And I've got a sister. It was just so cool. And so, we have this great relationship, and I was getting into this stuff, and, I was actually growing sprouts, wheatgrass and pea sprouts and sunflower sprouts. We were delivering them to 40 to 60 cancer patients a week in the Portland, Vancouver area as food is medicine. And, I was like, "Hey, Troy, if I give you do you have some acreage down there we could plant some peas? And I wanna do it with I have to find it where it hasn't been sprayed at least 3 years. I want it to be all, like, certified organic and all that stuff." He's like, "Yeah," because "it won't work without, this and that. You gotta do chemicals." I'm like, "No, you don't, dude." So, we planted 3 acres, and we fertilized them with ionic ocean minerals, which is concentrated seawater. We did it once or twice. That was it. He never touched the field. We harvested it, 97% germination rate in those seeds. And every time I would soak like 3 cups of peas, there'd be about 2, 3, 4 weevils would be in there. So that was good. We knew it was natural. But I had a great crop, and we used those in part of our sprout growing operation. So him and I had plans to have a farm and do all this stuff. And he had 2 little girls, and a
Yeah.
bun in the oven, and he was mountain biking, and he went off a jump, and he broke his neck, and he passed away. He died. And I remember getting that call in the middle of the towards the early evening, and my sister's like, "Troy got in an accident. He's at the hospital in Silverton." And I'm like, "Where's this at?" Like, "Give me the address." You know, I'm freaking out. She's like, "No, Tim, you understand? Like, he didn't make it." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Well, he died." And I'm just like, "What?" And I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
just it's like I'm very happy for him now, but back then I couldn't even process this stuff, and it was like it still brings back those emotions to me, right?
Right.
And it's like it was horrible, like, and I was so pissed. I was pissed because I was selfish because I didn't have my brother anymore. It was a selfish act. And I learned later, and I was mad. Like, I was mad. I was smart enough not to punch walls, but I would like slam my bed like the Hulk. I was just in the middle of the day out of nowhere, just and then one day I was upstairs and I was like, I yelled out. I had this outburst on my because I got pissed. I was like, "Troy, what do you want me to do?" I screamed at the top of my lungs. I literally heard him say, and I never heard this before. I literally heard him say, "Do what you love and do it now." I'm like, I picked up my phone, and
Yes.
I was a financial advisor at the time. And so I called Jeff, my mentor, and I was getting ready to inherit this huge business, this financial practice, 18 employees, 3 offices, multi-million-dollar deal. And I called Jeff and I said, "Jeff, I'm out." He's like, what do you mean out?" I said, "I'm getting out of the financial services industry." He's like, "What are you talking about?" I mean, this guy's got a lot of time involved in me. He's very concerned. And I said, "Dude, my brother is dead. He went out doing what he's loved." And I'm like, I want to help people with their health. I'm like, I want to help people talking about sprouts and green juices. And I want to help them do and experience what I went through. This is a gift. It's priceless, dude. Like, I was a mess. I was living in fear, dude. I was shitting blood. I'm like, people are out there. This is happening to more people than just me. I'm finding out. I've had all these people over to my house in these classes, and I'm like, I have to help people. And he's like, "How are you going to make money?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't care. I'm going to figure it out." And I did. And I struggled financially for 5.5 years, having to put groceries
Yeah.
back that I couldn't afford. But then I learned how to eat lower in the food chain and do it in a healthy way. And then all of a sudden, all that stuff changed for me, and I was able to, get get my sorry, my monitor went to sleep, like, to get my health back. And so that was the story of my brother. And now I know on a spiritual level I've made peace with that. My brother came here, he did exactly what he was supposed to do, and he gave me that contrast, and that contrast launched me into this, to what I'm doing now. And I don't know, without his death, I don't know if I would have had the courage to do it. Because I just like I was overcome with emotion. And so I'm like, I'm doing it. And so I did.
You
And here we are.
are. You are doing it. That's beautiful, though. That really was one. I know your work, it's beautiful, and you really helping people, and I mean yourself and people. It's just I mean, it's just so wonderful. But when I saw that message, when I watched that video, and you said that, do what you love and do it now.
Yeah.
That kind of paused me completely. I was like, this is it. Yeah, not beautiful.
And that was before I even had a spiritual practice. But
Yeah.
that was, I mean, I think we all do. We all have it. What I've learned is like all we are at the core of everything, at the heart of everything is we're unconditional love. That's it. We're unconditional love. And that's all we want to do. We want to wake up. We want to feel good. We want to feel love in our heart. And we want to have a pleasant life. I mean, that's what it really boils down to. That's happiness. You want to be happy. It's that simple. That unconditional love is like the sun that is shining. It's always there. It's always a part of us. It's always there. But sometimes there's clouds and you can't see the sun. And those clouds, again, are societal conditioning, your parental conditioning, and us building up our egos to protect us from all the
Yes.
crap that we see around because we don't realize what we truly are. And my job now is I really do help people with their health, but I give them the energy and the vitality to start vibrating at these higher levels so they can have the energy and start learning and tapping into the spiritual energy so they can start brushing these clouds away and let that sun shine, let that unconditional love of who they are really shine on themselves. And then I'm telling you what, it's like it's like this stuff is so crazy. It was so trippy for me in the beginning. Like I had like no money, like none. But for some reason, I had this friend who was he designed the Nordstrom's logo and most of the packaging in the stores you see. My logo behind me, that icon with the flame,
Yeah.
literally later when I started talking about, I was like speechless. I couldn't even talk for a moment when I realized something. I was in the middle of a live feed doing something, talking or training, and I was like, "You become the light." And you have to understand that when you become the light and you get lit up and you become illuminated, one little tiny light in a dark room will light the entire room.
Yes.
And but you get 50,000 people in a stadium, and they all just turn on their it used to be light a candle or something. Now it's your iPhones, and it's just like brillante. It's just like super bright, right? It's like just
Yeah.
it's crazy when we come together. So what's cool about it is when you get lit up, you can literally go around and light up other people just by your mere presence. And the cool thing is it doesn't diminish your candle at all, not one bit. You
Right.
are just and it's just like and it just keeps growing, and then we looked at that flame on these people, and I'm like, "Holy crap." It's like even our logo, it says it and this guy just designed it. I was like, "Yeah, it looks pretty cool." It's like the green flame. It's kinda like Prometheus, he said, and carrying greens, and you sell greens, and but it's like, no, it's this light. It's this living light that we all are, and being able to tap into that. And that's like tapping into that unconditional love and being the light. So that's what I want for everybody. I want people to feel as good as I do and get on this spiritual practice if they want to. If they don't want to, I understand that is a valid choice too. And I honor and respect that. And I send lots of compassion to them and total honor and respect. But and I think that might be one of our big problems today is when we find stuff, we want other people to do it, and so we start pushing our stuff onto other people, even if it might be good for them, when you don't have to do any of that stuff. It's much easier just to do it for yourself. And by being the light, you're literally like walking around handing out permission slips for other people to do the same thing. And you'll see this happen. And other people have, like, I started playing guitar and I was playing guitar. I just started playing guitar in the health food store a couple months ago for a lunch break. And this guy comes up to me. He's almost crying. He gives me a $10 tip. I wasn't even asking for tips. He's like, I used to play all the time, and it was this lady came into the church and she ruined it all. And he goes, I haven't picked up my guitar in like 12 years. He's like, you inspired me. I'm gonna go pick up my guitar and I'm gonna start playing again. And I'm like, I'm a hack. Like I mean, I can play a few songs, but it's like I'm not like Jimi Hendrix or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
like even when I feel like I'm just passionate about things now, and it's like it's so much fun, and I want people to feel like I feel. So I feel like my job is to be as healthy and as happy as I possibly can, and I want to be like a, I don't know, just like a something like a wood chipper, just sending out permission slips, just. I wanted people to see me and feel it, so that they can like, you know what, I'm going to go learn violin. You know what? I'm going to take my health back. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to be the leader of my family. Like it or not, they can follow if they want to. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to do this for me. I'm going to get my relationship better. I'm going to, you know what? I don't like what I'm doing as a career. I'm going to go do something else. But I'm going to honor and thank that career that I have today. Right. And we've had people like that. I had a CPA call me and he told me this whole story. He's like, dude, I've been following you for years, listening to your podcast. He's like, you got me into meditation. Long story short, now he's a meditation practitioner. He's no longer doing CPA work. And we have hundreds, if not thousands, of these stories where people just from me changing myself. That's it. I have no idea. And it's just, it keeps trickling down. So other people inspired me, and like you inspire me with what you're doing. And I'm taking all that in and I'm going to keep running with it. And like, who says age is nothing? It's like, I'm glad I want to get older. I literally want to get older, but I don't feel 50. I don't feel 50, and it seems like people around me don't even say I act like I'm 50. But I was on that when I was 37, I was acting like I was like 57 probably, right? It's all attitude.
Yeah, I love absolutely. I love your passion. I love your expression in this reality. It's really beautiful because you're full of life. You're just fully alive, and you're bringing this. It's a lot of fun too. That's what I see. It's meaningful, wise fun. So thank you for being that expression in the human body.
Oh,
Thank you so
thank
much.
you for
Um,
my pleasure.
Wow. And just to tap into the aging thing, yes, it really gets to women a lot more, this idea of aging, that we are not supposed to age almost. There's this rejection, this pushing away of getting older. And I know when you say, I'm 50 and you're proud to say that, it's not really pushing away that you could look differently, right, Tim? Because it's however it happens, as you said. I love the way you answered the question about the purpose of life is to live. And as long as we are here in a body and we feel like in our own way that we are fulfilled, or we are helping others, I think that's enough, isn't it? We don't need to look good while we do we do that. I
Yeah.
mean, it's interesting.
Well, God, I can remember this guy's name. there was this guy, he was a plastic surgeon. He's like one of the first 6 plastic surgeons, I believe, in the United States. Like,
Yeah.
and he basically spent the first 20, 30 years of his career fixing people's faces. Like they get in car accidents and he'd fix them. But he, after 30 years of doing this stuff, he would like take this woman and he's like, okay, take the mask off. They look in, and he's like, look at yourself now. You look beautiful. And half the time they would be like, well, I don't feel beautiful. And he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, look, here's you before. Now here's your face after the accident. You look like a hamburger. And now look at your face again. You're great. And but he kept thinking about this. And after a while, he started learning about something called the self-image, right?
Mm.
So even though
Yeah.
these women might even have a beautiful quote unquote face, they
Yeah.
still saw themselves as ugly. And I still have a little bit of that. Like, I always think that, for some reason I got this, like my face isn't balanced and one side looks like it's ugly, and this stuff, and but I'm like, "Who cares?" Like, now it's just like, this is a vehicle, okay? And I got a pickup truck, and I might have a couple dents in it, but as long as it runs and gets me where I'm going, and it runs really well, and it's healthy, like, that's what I need. I need a vehicle, right? To do the things I need to do and experience the things I need to experience and be the light. And so, Maxwell Maltz was the guy's name. If anybody wants to, this is like back in a long time ago, Maxwell Maltz. So and this guy ends up dedicating the second half of his life to finding out to help people repair the self-image. Right. So really cool. And how do you do this? Like, I just believe that everything falls back to following your excitement and your joy with not an assistance on an outcome. So to ask your question about that beauty stuff, I'd say follow the formula, but just realize this. Okay. Realize this and take this in, especially women at a deep level and guys too, because I know I felt this way. I felt not pretty or whatever. And is that your body, your physical body is made of mostly what? It's water. Okay. Where do you find that? You find it in rivers, creeks, lakes, streams, ponds. So you're nature, right? You're part of the earth. Like, what about your gut microbiome? You find the same ones if they haven't tilled and killed the soil like we farmers used to do. We were trained to do that. Then it's the same stuff. It's the same bacteria that's in the soil that's in your gut. Your mother nature, your bones are made of minerals. Where do you get that? The dirt. Okay. You are just like a oak tree or an ant, except you're just running around. Okay. And so,
Yes.
so let this sink in, my friends. You are nature. There is no separation between you and this planet. This planet is a living earth. And if you ever go online after this and get a zoom out, a pan out of the earth, and as you're zooming out, all of a sudden the rivers and creeks will look like veins and arteries to you. And you'll be like, holy crap. And then you'll start understanding that the clouds are like the irises of your eyes that let light in and out depending on as much light so you can still stay focused. The earth is a living, breathing, the irises, the clouds keep a constant temperature and keep us alive. So the earth is a living being. The earth is connected to the solar system. The solar system is connected to the galaxy. The galaxy is connected to the universe and the multiverse. And so think about this, my friends. The power of the universe is literally inside of you. You're a part of all this. There is no separation from any of this stuff. This is like profound. You know where I got this? Stargazing. The more when I got back home and I started looking at stars and wondering, like, and learning this stuff, and I put it all together, and so I could see it and visualize it. I was overcome with emotion, and I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah.
Like, I have the power of the universe inside of me, and so does everybody else. And it's like, this is what my mission is. My mission is to get people to wake up and do this and understand that that's what they are. And it's like anything is possible. So just, it's just like the Nike slogan. It's like, do it. Why wait?
Yeah. How beautiful, Tim. Yes. The universe is you. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So our petty little problems are what they are. They're just, it's just clouds. Just brush them out of the way. Get into that
Mhm.
unconditional love. And, it's awesome. I tell you what, it's so freeing. It's like when we went up to that lake, there was a few people around, and I'm like, "You know what? I don't care." It's like, God gave me my birthday suit. I'm jumping in with my birthday suit. I don't care. And,
Yes.
I don't care. I just don't care anymore. It's like, it's like, but we were way up in the middle of the mountains. There's just like 2 people up there, so whatever.
What is not to love about your expression? It's truly, truly beautiful. It's wise. It's present. It's deep. So yeah, you are it. You are everything that you that you wanted to be, that you are dreaming to be. That's the another message that so many people. I mean, I spent so many years of my life trying to find something, find myself elsewhere, find happiness elsewhere, or at a different time, and everything was here.
Yeah.
It was a huge realization.
Yeah, you have everything that you need.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Tim, again, for your presence in this reality, for all the work that you're doing. I know you're using the body uh, as the path. This is in spiritual tradition, they will call the Tantra traditional yoga also. Some people like me, it's more interested in knowledge for some reason. It's more intellectual. And I tried the path of Tantra and yoga. It didn't work for me. So it's more like understanding, peace, kindness coming from, yeah, from the intellect and then letting that just kind of flow into the body and mind. But I have to say it again. Yeah, you're there already. How beautiful. I love to see that. I love to see that. We need more human beings awakened.
Well, it's you know what? It's happening. It's happening. I'm even finding it over here in Eastern Oregon. I'm running into like old farmers, and then we're having these deep conversations. And everywhere I go, I keep running into like old souls too. Like I ran into this guy and this other gal, and I'm like looking her in the eyes. I'm like, I know you. She's like, I know you. I'm like, we don't know each other in this time space, Rob, but we're just like, there's crazy stuff going on. It's all out there. If you just get that crap, that all that again, it's those clouds. You get them out of there. And it's like people are waking up, they're popping like popcorn, and as more of us do this, this whole consciousness shift is actually happening faster. We can all be a part of it, and we can lose weight in the meantime and feel healthy and, do all this
Yes.
other stuff and have beautiful skin, and that should be part of it. That's just being healthy should be a side effect of a healthy life, all healthy life, and that's just not the body, it's the mind, it's the spirit, it's the emotions, and, I've just dove into this stuff, and all this stuff that I thought was woo woo, most of it's not,
Yeah.
and I'm just, an average working class person that's it tries to paint a picture for other people, like, dude, literally, if I grew up on it, like, literally a dirt road, and there's no silver spoon, none of this stuff, like, if I can change and start working on my ego and getting all this crap out of the way so I can be happy, so can you. Like, so can you.
Mm.
'Cause we're really no different. We all have the same types of immune systems, red blood cells. Half of you probably have it better than me, and half of you probably have it worse. So I'm probably right in the middle.
I love, well, you're funny too. That really helps because we need to laugh more. Laugh is
Oh, yeah,
healing, and
absolutely.
it is about different vibrations and a higher vibration.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're funny in a wonderful way. Thank you so much for being you again. It's truly beautiful. Really, really
Thanks,
beautiful.
Valeria. Thanks for having me on.
I love the manifesto too. I have to say that. I think this on your website, the Chemical Free Body Manifesto. I read that. I have here. It's really cool. So before we say goodbye for today, Tim, would you like to add anything? Say anything that you left unsaid, or anything that yeah, questions that I didn't ask.
Wow. Well, I would just encourage people to not wait for a cancer diagnosis or a heart attack to live. And to be the light for yourself. Number one, be selfish, right? Mama bear teaches baby bear what to do. So our children and grandchildren are looking up to us to be happy and healthy and to learn how to live their lives, and we do it by doing it ourselves. And unfortunately, I see so many parents, especially moms, they're out there, they're putting everybody else first, they put themselves last, and then they have a medical issue, and then they go into a broken system that gives them more synthetic chemicals from the problems. And again,
True.
I've broken everything down to three things because I like simple. If you're not happy and healthy right now, you're disconnected from yourself. But number one, you are stressed out, and you need to have a daily lifestyle to keep your stress down because you're not going to heal. Let me repeat, you will not heal if you do not learn how to manage your stress. Number two, you're full of toxins. We could talk about that. I mean, all the umbilical cord studies show since 2005, every child has over like almost 200 cancer causing chemicals in the womb. Everyone. And this is why children are dying now younger. So we have toxicity. And then number three is a deficiency of living nutrients, the soil, fresh food. So buy local, buy local, buy local, vote with your dollar. So if you can reduce your stress, get the toxins out from a daily detox practice because we live in a polluted world. And number three, start flooding your body with living nutrition. I haven't seen anybody that hasn't come back at some level, right? And if
Ah,
people want help with that, we help
yeah.
them. That's what we do. We have one-on-one coaching. I've got a weekly class I lead every Wednesday. I help people. We call it our inner circle. We have a retreat in Medellin, Colombia, January 6th, 2000. That's not even on our website yet, but I mean, it's January 6th, 2024 for 2 weeks. There's just a lot of really cool stuff that's happening. Like literally
Yeah.
things on my goal sheets and stuff they've already been manifested. I'm vibrating into them right now. Like this has been going on. I cleaned out an old deal, my mom and dad's storage unit. I looked at an old goal sheet. I'm like, holy crap! Like a whole bunch of the stuff has already happened.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, woohoo! Of course, of course, of course. Why not? Of course, I'm following my joy. I'm excited. I'm doing more of it. Yep, I'm doing more, and I'm just gonna keep rolling that way.
You reminded me of, I think, of the message of Joseph Campbell. I think he's the one who said, "Follow your bliss," didn't he? I think it was him. The hero's journey. You remind me of him for some reason too. I just thought about him before when you were speaking, and then now too. Even the image. Ah, Joseph Campbell, why are you here?
But with no insistence on an outcome, that second part of the formula is very important.
Yes, yeah.
Very important, because if you get stuck on something, it's like running through tar trying to get there, and then all of a sudden life becomes drudgery. If it excites you, set the goal and then drop it. Literally drop it and then just
Ah,
keep following the thread of excitement. And if you end up hitting that goal, great. If not, it led you to the next step where you can see what was really truly important for you. You don't know how it's going to go, and that's the unraveling of this tapestry of life. But you have to tap into that thread. And excitement is that's the focus. That should be the focus every day is. And who wouldn't want to be excited all day long? Why not? You know what I
yes.
mean? It's like,
Um,
no, I'm gonna be grumpy. I'm gonna be, fearful. I'm gonna live in fear. I'm gonna be grumpy. No, just be excited and enjoy. Be like a little kid coming down to the Christmas stockings every day. That would be really cool. That's what I want for people.
and that's a beautiful message. That's one that I talk a lot here on the podcast a lot about free will. If we really had free will, wouldn't we choose to be happy all the time?
Yes.
But it seems like we don't, right? Because thoughts they just appear to us, and life just happens. I do think that way that we are life. We are life itself, really. Like you
Yeah.
said about nature, it really that resonates true to me. We are nature. We are life. So is that freedom just here now doing what it does and however it does? But it feels really great, Tim, to meet people like yourself, and this is what resonates with some the body mind here too. And I meet tons of amazing people like yourself as well, and we talk about these things. But in the end, I do love the idea of being free in a sense of whatever it's present, be present. And that's how I feel these days, really. Like, okay, this is it. Although I do have my practices in place when I need them. So chemicalfreebody.com, is that the best place to find more information about you, Tim?
Yeah, chemicalfreebody.com. Well, my team, they finally talked me into it. So we also are at Chemical Free Body on Instagram and TikTok, believe it or not. I can't believe I'm
Yeah.
doing it, but
Why
it's
not?
whatever. It's out
Yeah.
there. They're doing these real things, and I shoot little videos and stuff. There's gonna be a lot more stuff on that. But yeah, chemicalfreebody.com. It's our main website. If people are interested in trying out like our products, like I said, we have like everything that I make it for myself, most of it, and then I will not spare any expense on it. So our place is that we build it for the working class. They're the highest quality stuff you can get at probably the best prices you're ever going to see, because we don't upcharge things like everybody else does. And they're very amazing things. So like I said, they can go to the shop tab, go to like savings bundles, and then they can pick like a jumpstart bundle or the total energy and detox bundle or something that fits. Look around, check stuff out. There's also Tim's favorites. I've curated some. I found a sauna that actually broke a natural law in the last 12 years. I found like I do grounding stuff, and we have a molecular hydrogen machine that I breathe molecular hydrogen when I sleep, and I charge my water with it. We have a water system. We have all air purification. I just try to find these really cool things, the best of the best. That kind of stuff is in there. And on all of our detox and nutrition products, we have a double your money back guarantee. So you can get the discount on the bundles, and you can get a double your money back guarantee on all the products, because I know they're going to work for people 98% up the middle. If they don't, just reach out to us, call us, or send an email to support@chemicalfreebody.com. We'll happily refund your money, and we'll give you a different tool. They're just part of the tools in the toolkit. And again, we have weekly inner circle where you can talk to me live and get your questions
Yeah.
answered, keep you moving forward. We have private one-on-one coaching, and now we have the retreat in Medellin, Colombia.
That all sounds wonderful to me. All that trying. I definitely want to try some of your products. Thank you so much again for your presence, Tim. In this reality, collectively, because I have to think that way, whatever is good for me, it's also helping others. So that's how I think. So thank you for being part of this human family. Thank you so much for your contribution. And we'll talk soon. We'll definitely meet again and we'll talk soon. Bye
Thank you
for
so
now, Tim.
much.
Thank you.